Those reporting there. To discuss this, let's bring in David Katz, a political and legal analyst and former U.S. attorney in Los Angeles during the Reagan administration. David, welcome to the program.
Great to be with you.
Sure. So first, let's talk about this question of proof from the Trump administration that there was indeed a threat of an imminent attack from Iran that led to President Trump ordering General Soleimani's killing. Does the president even need to show proof, or is that just Democratic posturing?
Well, you know, President Trump hasn't produced that proof, and of course, he should have produced it. In fact, he should have given it to the 4 Democratic members of the intelligence committees and the speaker, too, so that they could evaluate it. They've done that confidentially. Nobody leaks anything. So he kept it from Congress. He kept it from our European allies. He kept it from NATO. And, you know, the irony of this situation is that President Trump has now done something that weak Iran could never do. Iran could never push the U.S. out of Iraq. It could never push the oil companies out of Iraq. And yet they've pushed Chevron out. They're about to push us out, it looks like. And, you know, we put a lot of blood and treasure into going into Iraq. And whether somebody believes it should have been done or not been done, it made no sense to assassinate the highest general over there in Iraq. I mean, if it was really important to assassinate him, at the very least, they shouldn't have done it in Iraq, because now we're in the middle of this war with Iran in Iraq. And if you were an Iraqi legislator, would you want this? Would you want this war happening in your country? No, they're going to tell us all to get out, but they can never get Iran out. They can get us out. They can never get Iran out, and the spoils of Iraq will go to Iran and Russia. Great job, President Trump.
But you say great job, but there are a lot of people, especially Democrats, who say the president threw out the first salvo here and really started what will develop into a war between the U.S. and Iran by killing General Soleimani.
I was being sarcastic. When I said great job, I was being sarcastic. When I said great job, I was being sarcastic. Terrible job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. We want to clear that up, because if the president did indeed start this war between the U.S. and Iran, the president's position is that there was this imminent threat, that he had to protect American interests. What about that? Doesn't the commander-in-chief have that right?
Well, he's got to produce that proof if it really is so. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
There's a process by which he's supposed to present that proof.
But the president claims that
Republicans and Democrats on the Intelligence Committee. He's supposed to produce that proof. He's never produced it. This is like the WMD all over again. This looks like wag the dog, Derek. This looks like the timing had nothing to do with an imminent threat from Soleimani. It had everything to do with the imminent threat of the impeachment trial against Trump. And that's extremely troubling. This president may be in trouble, but you know what? He's got to deal with the impeachment trial and the Republican moderate senators on his own, not drag us into something close to World War III. People who don't know anything about the news are really scared about what's happening right now. They're really scared about it. People are scared to be in Europe. They're scared to be in New York City, right?
Well, David,
they're scared to be on a base for sure.
Stand by for me, though.
Yes,
I want to bring in Republican strategist Chris Prudhome on this. And Chris, you know, David Katz is saying people are scared about President Trump throwing out what many believe to be the first salvo in this conflict between the U.S. and Iran. But the president says he had to do it. There was an imminent threat. What do you say?
I absolutely agree. We have to do something. Look, people should be scared of, should have been scared of the general. The president had to make a bold decision, and it's time that we start taking leadership action and making decisive decisions ourselves. We have to eradicate these individuals who are doing wrong in the world and who are causing terroristic acts. And that's what President Trump has done. The reality is, at the end of the day, he killed a general who has killed massive amounts of people, who has caused terroristic acts and threats across the world. This is a scary individual who is now gone, who is now eradicated. It's too bad. It is what it is.
But now, Chris, if there's no proof, if there is no proof, if it turns out the president just acted unilaterally, many believe because he wanted to change the conversation from impeachment.
No proof against what?
No proof that there was some imminent threat being produced by General Soleimani. You know, there are many people who believe the president just wanted to change the conversation from impeachment by ordering this strike against Soleimani. Then what? Does the president have blood on his hands?
Well, Look, certainly it's not blood on his hands. I mean, the reality is, you can say whether people want to argue it's a rabbit hole, imminent threat or not imminent threat. The reality is that the general has killed numerous amounts of people. That is the bottom line. I mean, hundreds, thousands of people. That's what the reality is. So people can argue what they want to argue. The reality with the Democrats, what this comes down to is, do they want? Was the timing issue? That people say, oh, well, it wasn't the right timing. Should they have done it now? Well, if that's the case, were we going to wait for Iran to do something to attack us potentially a month from now, today, yesterday? What were we actually waiting for? He's taking decisive action, and that's what this is about. And it's unbelievable that individuals are so upset about this. Look, Iran, they put an $80 million bounty on President Trump's head. You have a comedian, George Lopez, who's joking around, laughing about, about taking half of that. It's absolutely ridiculous. That just goes to show the amount of power that this general had, and that's what this is about. Now, should it have been done differently? People argue. Perhaps it could have been, but as the president of the United States, there is intelligence that he has that is much more than what you and I see or any other official or members of Congress see. This is about making our country more safe, getting things done, and being productive. That's what this whole situation is about. Yeah. And this is about being solution-oriented, and that's what President Trump has done.
All right, David Katz, I'm going to let you have the last word on this. I mean, this all may be a moot point now that we're getting this report that Iraq has now struck, or Iran has now struck an Iraqi target, killing or at least targeting U.S. forces in Iraq. I mean, are we talking about what many believe to be the start of a war here?
Well, I don't mourn this General Soleimani at all. The point is to think through the consequences of an action like this to kill him in Iraq. And that was something that President George Bush, never did. He was very zealous about Iraq. He was zealous about controlling Iraq, but he never thought that he should take out this general. So my thoughts and prayers are with the service members who are under attack right now. Of course, that's who we are concerned about over here. But the reality is that Trump has made them less safe, not more safe over there. And really what we ought to be doing is we ought to be trying to sign back onto the nuclear treaty with Iran. That's what we really ought to be doing. But that's not what Trump's going to do.
Chris Prudhome, thanks for joining me. More on this discussion for sure in the days ahead. Coming up, Venezuela, opposition leader Juan Guaido making